Hey guys, welcome to another episode of How Cool Were You? My name is Yolanda, and thank you so much for joining me today. For those of you who have not seen the show at all, let me give you a little bit of information. Basically, what I do is I will be reading stories that have been sent to me about people going through a personal, difficult time, but also how they overcame those difficulties. And my goal is to share those stories with as many people as possible so that people understand that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. No matter how bleak situations may seem, there is always a light at the end of the tunnel. Um, so that's what I'll be doing every week. I'll be reading a story. We can definitely discuss it the following week if we have any questions or comments, which I do check, so that you're not being ignored. And now that we've gone through that, I just want to remind everyone that I am not a doctor. This program is in no way a cure or a diagnosis of any medical condition. And if you do believe that you have a medical condition, please seek professional help. Okay, now that that's out of the way, I'd like to give you a little bit of information about the story that I'm going to read today. The gentleman that sent it in would like to remain anonymous, so his name will be John Doe. Just like last week it was Jane Doe. So this is about a period in his life where he had to choose between the career path that was basically planned for them, or to follow his dream. And maybe, it's a little risky, and stuff like that. So without further ado, let me go ahead and read the story. And I do apologize if I'm not giving a lot of eye contact, but it's very difficult for me to remember all of this at one time. So I'm just going to read for you. Okay? And here it goes. Alright, my name is John Doe. I heard about this from a pal of mine who said I might have a story for you. I looked up your site and I think what you're doing is phenomenal. Keep it up because I think this will help so many people. Mr. John Doe, thank you very much for that input, and spread the word, because the more stories we get, the more people that we can help. So thank you for that. And now I'm going to get back to your story. It reads, a year ago, when I was 24 years old, I decided to quit college and pursue my passion for art. I know it sounds really cliche, but I couldn't help it. I thought maybe if I got a job that would keep me financially stable, I could work on my art on the side and hopefully become successful in both fields, but I couldn't keep focus on my school studies. I began to fail because I was more interested on the ideas I had for new art projects. My teacher sent numerous emails of concerns, but I wasn't going to quit. I was determined to finish and get my degree. But one day I decided I had to choose with my gut. I came home and told my parents. Needless to say, they were sorely disappointed in my decision. They told me that if that was my choice, to refuse a decent education and good paying job for just art, then they could no longer support me or have me living in their home. To say the least, I was in shock for a day or so. We didn't really speak, and they gave me a month to find somewhere else to live. What was I supposed to do? Where was I to go? I felt like I had no one, and I didn't have any other close family to speak of. Luckily, a friend of mine told me I could crash at his house until I got on my feet again. He didn't understand my choice either, but knew I was a good guy and that I wouldn't lay about all day. No one understood my reasoning, and I began to feel so alone. No support. Not one person believed I could do it, be on my own, or become successful in the art world. I sunk into a deep depression. I would get up in the morning, put on my best suit to go out and find a job, tell my friend I was off for the day to find work, and then get in my car to the park and cry. I know I didn't want anyone to see me like this. I considered going back to my parents and going back to school to please them, but just didn't feel right. Fast forward a couple more weeks into this, and it just got worse. Oops, sorry. No job potential, no support system, no parental communication. I didn't think it could get any worse, but suddenly I lost the will to draw as well. As I sat in my car one day, I just knew that life wasn't going to be okay. That I had effed up my life so bad for a dream I didn't even believe in anymore. I wanted to die, and I was determined to make that happen. The next day, sorry, I have gum in my mouth. The next day, I wrote a letter to my parents apologizing for not being the son they wanted, and one to my friend who showed compassion and put a roof over my head when no one else would. I left both of them in the passenger seat of my car, took a knife, and put it to my wrist. In that moment, I thought of everything I wished I had accomplished in my short time on earth. And just like that, it hit me. I put the knife down and embarrassingly yelled out loud, "F this!" And then I threw the knife into the lake. I felt like I had just gotten hit with the biggest epiphany of my life in that moment. I realized that I shouldn't give up on my dream, and that I shouldn't give up on life just because everything wasn't going according to plan. I had more to offer. My parents, still resenting my decisions, finally sat down with me, and we talked about what I could do with my life. They understood that I wasn't going to give up on my dream of art, but that I did need to be able to support myself. They let me come back home under the conditions that I look for work and consider going back to school, at least part-time, to keep my options open. I did end up going back to school, but I went for art studies instead and got a job a month or two later. Looking back, I realized, I think I was being, where'd it go? I'm sorry. Looking back, I think I was being hasty in my decision to commit suicide, instead of just taking a step back and assessing what I could really do. In the moments leading up to me actually attempting, I felt like a complete failure with no real reason to keep on going. But I overcame that. I picked myself back up. And I think back to that moment now and realize how strong I was for not doing it, for being my own hero and saving me from robbing myself of a full life. It felt so good to have my parents' support again, because they mean the world to me. And now they regularly go to my art shows, which are small, but hey, I'm getting somewhere. I'm making a name for myself. I'm sorry if this was really long, but I haven't shared this story with anyone before, so I would like to remain anonymous. But it feels great to share this with someone who has such an amazing cause. Again, John Doe, I really do appreciate your submission. It does get very difficult when you're older, especially, you're an older teenager, you're 16, 17, 18 years old. At 18, you're legally an adult, right? And a lot of times, I know personally in my case, when I was 18, I was like, okay, I don't have a curfew because I'm grown. I don't have to do this. I don't have to do that. You can't make me. It didn't work out the way I thought it would. I went to college for a little while and then I stopped. And then I went back and then I stopped. And then I went back and then I stopped. I'm going back again because now I realize I only have one more year of school to accomplish my bachelor's degree, which is great for me. But every time I would stop school, it was to change my major. That, and usually I was going through difficult financial times as well. But it was something that, while I was in school, I was doing my best, but then I would get completely burnt out and I didn't know what to do about it. And I completely understand where you're coming from, where your parents did not agree with your decision, because I had a similar situation with my foster parents. They wanted me to do something that was practical, like nursing. I can't stand the sight of blood or bodily fluids, so that was not possible, but something practical. And what I have come to realize is that just because your opinions may differ, it doesn't mean that the people that are giving you the advice, it doesn't mean that they don't wish you the best. They do. And that's something that we have, that most people have in common, is when you're talking to your parents, you're just desperately trying to get them to understand your side of the situation. But remember that for those of you who have kids, they're doing the same thing, right? They just want to understand why you're saying yes or no. Why is this happening? In any case, try to be open-minded. You wanted your parents to be more open-minded. Try being more open-minded with your children. Try being more open-minded with your friends, because then you can kind of grow your friendship together. It doesn't stay stagnant, I feel like I digress. And also, you may be wondering why I'm speaking in cursive right now. It's because I've already taken my medication to go to sleep. It takes a while to kick in. So that's that, because I'm dealing with insomnia, so there's that. But I just wanted to recap about Mr. John Doe realizing what his passion was, going for it. And even though it was a struggle, he was able to have a civilized discussion with his parents and them come to a mutual agreement. And I think that's the best thing that you can do, is communicate. If you don't communicate with each other, you're not going to know what the other person is thinking. Also, I want to address the fact that John was going to attempt suicide. And don't. Okay, I understand. I've been there many, many times. But don't. Because once you make that decision, you cannot change your mind. You want to make sure that you start weighing out the positives. And quite frankly, I know that people's lives can be crud, because mine was for quite some time. But I'll tell you this. If you can't find enough positive things to think of in your memory, create them. Create your own positive space. Maybe it's just you, maybe it's you and a friend, but you need to create that positivity then and have that camaraderie. I'm sorry, my dog is a nut. and have that camaraderie. Okay? So I want you all to help each other out. As a matter of fact, during this coming week, before I see you again, just try to be as kind as you can. Hold the doors open for people. Don't forget to say thank you to people who are serving you, like cashier and, fast food worker. Be kind. Okay? So, on that note, I just want to inform you, if you have a story that you would like to volunteer, then please, by all means, do not hesitate to email me. And it is howcoolwereyou@gmail.com. And then also you can go to howcoolwereyou.com and you can submit a story on that webpage also. So in the meantime, please like, please share, please subscribe. Let's get the word out there and take care of each other. Okay? So thank you for joining me. I hope to see you all next week. Bring a friend. Maybe we can build the community. Okay? And again, I hope to see you next week. So in the meantime, stay strong, stay positive, and I'll see you next Friday. Bye.